this ballet, I'm really enjoying ballet, but this ballet vocabulary is so hard to remember. I remember some of it from jazz, some of it from modern, but we didn't go into all of this. I'm trying to make my little vocabulary of all of the things that, pictures that help me. It's probably not very clear, but I'm just trying to get the basics so that I can. This looks so fun. I think it's so pretty, but just trying to get the basics. And thank you, YouTube, for some of these. It was also very pretty. That helped me understand. This had me cracking up. It basically means a horsey step. Like a little gallop. It made me think like of girls that dress up as ponies. And I was like, ballet could be a little freaky if you want it to be. And that's almost the end. Yeah.
Alright, ready? Let's go full out.
What?
Alright. Damn, y'all look good. Good work. Class dismissed. Hey! Good work!
I have to drive to work after school, so I can't take the bus. So I am constantly finding creative places to park. Sometimes I get tickets, sometimes I don't. But honestly, spending $100 to not lose my job, it's been necessary. So we'll see how this one works today. Okay? We'll see. We are, I guess a month into the semester, and what are we doing now? We have bleeding currently, period stuff. I got some real low feelings recently based on the assassination and the political explosion, and I noticed having been glued to my phone, and my workplace tried to fire me. Well, they didn't try to fire me, right? But they've been writing me up for a bunch of stuff, and they were kind of like, next steps is not looking good. I ended up skipping school yesterday, and I went to buy some gifts for a friend of mine at work, and discovered this really cool bookstore. It was just, I needed to do something that wasn't in the monotony, that wasn't in the daily routine, and that my brain was doing bad loops. A family member of mine cussed me out a bunch and was, we kind of probably lost our relationship. So it's, I wasn't feeling great. So yeah, I found this random mansion in town that, I guess it has a apothecary, a witch store, and a bookstore, and read a bunch of poetry there. Just a much needed, like, finding a random spot type of a getaway. The first time that I've skipped school this semester. So, you know, previous semesters, I did that a lot more, and it was a huge issue. I think there's one video on this channel that is talking about, like, I think it's called mid-semester breakdown or something. I didn't really go into the detail because it was just too embarrassing, but I was letting down. I had a really bad mental health crisis. I didn't go into how bad it was. And it was, I was, you know, letting down my employers, getting fired, letting down my teachers. It felt like, you know, of course, sometimes I feel like I'm letting my family down. So it was just a lot, but it was a lot of me, like, not showing up on time to things and not having all my schoolwork done, you know, right on time, or this, and like a bunch of, I guess, executive functioning type stuff that is being late to something was tough, was what I felt like. Yeah, it's been following me for a long time. There's a kind of a combination of maybe executive functioning type stuff with just rubbing people the wrong way a lot with my alternative lifestyles that bump up against each other in a really nasty way sometimes. And then my own internalization of it making me more likely to come off weird because I'm anticipating weird. So, yeah, it's a snowball. It's not good. It isn't good when it happens. So, yeah, all that to say, this semester, I probably had skipped classes, like, it was just way too much previous semesters, and surprisingly still got B's, but it was not good. It wasn't good, and it could have been bad, and my jobs suffered a lot more. But I felt in my self-esteem, you know what I mean? But just feeling hopeless, feeling like I was trying for years to improve this, and I keep having these jobs, like, it is not even funny, and that starts to get to you, thinking that you'll never, ever, 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 ever get better. So, yeah, this semester, I'm not taking 7 classes, and I have a little bit more financial buffer, and I'm in one place where I'm living, so I think all these things are helping. But it just feels really good to have had that be the only time this semester that I'm gonna skip class. But I really needed it, and I opened up this book of poetry and I started crying a whole bunch, which I also really needed in, like, a kind of integrative way. I felt like their store was giving me the permission and the space to, like, let go. I'm not performing in any way or getting graded or evaluated, and it was great. We're on September 15th, and so it is we're really close, you know, we're close enough. I think things are gonna be okay with my work, but like I said, I'm one tick point away from getting fired. And I reckon I learned that with a lot of these places, you cannot trust, you cannot judge based on, like, what people seems to be happy with you, that they're actually not about to fire you. People are generally pretty hiding of their emotions. But I still think that sometimes you can tell. And I think we're doing okay. So we'll see what happens. But I've been applying around to other places just in case. Had a couple of interviews coming up. And I'm also feeling some warm, fuzzy feelings for Jonathan, my very good friend that I partner. Just because we like had to basically completely separate our lives for the sake of the maintenance and thriving of their marriage, and we still find times to send each other pictures of things, and I just feel them, you know, like in the air, in my energy field, in how I live my life and how they've impacted me, and I feel, and also I think one reason I feel so close to them, even though we've had to work through, we've had all of these things going that, you know, caused chaos and separation in our connection, is that every single time we talked about it, every single time something hurt or was weird or uncomfortable or really uncomfortable, we addressed it. Didn't have to be a secret. I think growing up there was a lot of culture in my household about, you don't, if you're unhappy with someone, you're being ungrateful, especially if it's your parents. Be happy, be grateful, you know, don't fight with your siblings, don't cause drama, all this stuff. And that caused a lot of like, you're not able to express when you're upset with someone. And if you do, you better be completely right and have a really, really good reason, or else you are bad. Instead of like, you're fighting with someone, and then what if you realize, wait, that was wrong of me. Then you can be like, yeah, or hey, I maybe that was right of me, but I also came on a little too strong. The Pennington household could never. No, if you dared to fight with somebody, you better be 100% right, or they're going to mock you. Like, it was not a friendly place. So for conflict, it was not okay to have conflict in that household. And so you weren't even really allowed to disagree with your parents, but even as siblings, because I think that was the mentality, was that we had the exact truth and you had to be right about it, and also you're not really supposed to complain. And the culture in our household was that if anyone showed any emotionality or hurt off of someone being cruel to them, they were being, you know, hormonal, emotional, all that kind of junk. So not a healthy place for conflict. And I would say bullies, right through and through. Me too. You know, that was how it was. So I think coming into my connection with Jonathan is that even though in our household we were living together, we never separated, nothing was ever separating us physically. In my connection with Jonathan, where I've had so much things happening and people getting upset about things and things that are upsetting that had happened to separate us, every single time I got to verbalize it. And I do still hold some concern that they did not verbalize as much as they wanted, but they said that they did, so I have to trust them. And try to hold space for anything else that they might want to talk about. But every single time something happened, and I got to be like, I'm angry at you. I don't deserve to be treated like this. And they were always coming back with, yes, that's so valid. You know, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry that this is how this went. I pulled you into this. Like, it's, you know, or if I was having a really angry day and coming on too strong, and they've shut down and got snappy, like, we said what we needed to until we realized we were too dysregulated and backed off and said, hey, I love you, we'll talk again tomorrow. And then we talked again and everything was good. It was just, yeah, so it's not like everything was perfect. And I think that, like, the ability to talk about stuff, like, it's new. And I'm carrying it, that's what I'm trying to say, is I'm carrying that into every connection that I have now. The fact that they felt safe within conflict. They felt you could bring things up with them that were going wrong, and they're going to have a conversation and take feedback. My parents could never. My parents could never. So this is a cycle, you know, their parents had a part in that, and all of it, but yeah, so I had some really good integrative stuff that went on yesterday with reading a book of love poems. Now, sometimes I read love poems and it doesn't resonate to how I feel about Jonathan, because they just seem sappy and strange, and I'm like, ew, gross, no, this person is just silly and, you know, my best friend and whatever. But this one was more like that. It made me cry. It was not roses and perfumes and stuff that I don't resonate with. It was much more like when you say, you know, when I say, hey, how are you, I really mean, you know, you've become a part of every thought, and I feel time stop when I hear your voice, and just a lot of much more, I can't even express it, but I did end up crying a bunch in a very beautiful way and a very integrative way, and it felt nice to be able to read these love poems and still feel 100% true, and not feel any need for them to be in my life right now for that to still be, you know, true. And I don't think I've never had that experience before with my exes where, you know, I got past I need you to be this here or else I can't feel these feelings, you know. But I do think that being poly with them allowed me to explore so much, and not being a nesting partner allowed me to explore so much of how to love someone in a different house, how to love someone in another marriage, in another deep family relationship, how to love someone as not possessive. It almost trained us for that. And any relationships that I have going forward, even if I want to move in and have babies immediately, which I've never really had that, but if I do, I want to keep it like, hey, I like to keep some separation, because I think that that's so healthy to have, to let your nervous system know that even if you leave each other, even if it's not the right fit, that there's still room for love. That is such an important thing for me. Like, we loved each other before we started seeing each other a lot, and it's hard to explain, I guess. But anyway, I'm gonna go to my narrative psychology class. It starts in an hour and a half, and I try to find parking. There's not any parking up there, but I can't take the bus because I have to go to work right after. And I'm gonna go talk to people about that. Thank you to Amanda for the lovely somatics class this morning. I'm a little loopy again today and not loving the monotony that my days are falling into, but it's okay because I have little excursions like yesterday. I go to class. We're not going to get bored out of our mind. We're going to drink enough caffeine to focus, be present, enjoy a beautiful campus, love the people we love, be present. The senses, shit.